Minn Wily Illusionist. Can it be a blue aggro deck? Very strange. Welcome to the video. I'm Paul, I'm your host. This is the first rule of Nerd Club. I hope you enjoy the deck tech. Before we start any deck tech, we need to do the 3 rules of Nerd Club. The first rule of Nerd Club is it must be fun to play. It must be budget friendly, between $50 and $70, and you need to be able to win with the deck. Rule number 2, you need to save the wonga, the bees, the honey. So we always proxy the cards first, test them out, and then we buy it. Rule number 3, we take no prisoners, we take no mercy. We don't apologize for winning. We're here to beat the opponents. Okay, let's get into it. Let's see what the commander does. Minn Wily Illusionist. So it says, whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 blue illusion creature token with this creature gets +1/+0 for each other illusion you control. Well, that there is just amazing, because we're going to try and draw 2 cards in our turn and every single opponent's turn as well. So hopefully going to get at least 3 or 4 illusions every turn it comes around, and each one's going to get +1/+0 for each illusion on the board. So it can get quite aggro pretty quick. The second ability, whenever an illusion you control dies, you may put a permanent card with mana value less than or equal to the creature's power from your hand onto the battlefield. Well, that's just cheating cards in. That's amazing. So if we can get, like, say 4, 5, 6 illusions on the board, we sacrifice one and we can bring out a card straight away on the battlefield. When I saw this, I just thought I've got to make a deck tech around it. It's amazing. So as always, what I do is I create a deck on Moxfield with the commander. I always put 36 lands, so then I know where to start. Obviously we can put it down or up, whatever we feel like we really need in the deck. Then I always go to YouTube first, because there's bound to be other people that's built decks around it. And then I watch different videos and see how other people like to play Minn, because there's loads of different ways you could take her. I tried doing a couple different ways, which the first way, this deck actually took me quite a bit to create. So as you can see, there's other videos. So then what you want to do is you click on the video. Then if you want to watch it, watch how they play it, watch the cards they have in their deck. But generally what I try and do is watch a couple videos, but then I generally just go down to the description below, and then there they have it. They have the deck, the list there. And I'm thinking, right, then what do I want? Do I want illusions in the deck? When I first started creating the deck, I've decided I didn't even want any illusions in the deck. All I wanted to do was make sure I had loads of cards that I needed to draw, so then I could create the illusions, and also have other creatures in there that if I drew a second time, then I'd be able to, you know, create more tokens. So say I wanted this one, I'd copy it. What's this one? That's an illusion. That's an illusion. So say Riftwing Cloud Stake. Let's say we wanted that. So we'll come over to a Moxfield. Put Riftwing in. And then we'll add it to the deck. Go back over to here and think, okay, let's have a look. Okay. That's good. So we'll put okay, this card's good because creatures you control with power 1, power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. Well, we're going to be creating illusions that's +1/+0, and they're all going to be 1 toughness, so that'll be amazing. So then they can't be blocked. So what's that? Tetsuku. And then we'll add that to the deck. And then just keep doing this for obviously however many videos you want to watch on YouTube. Keep going back here. You can even look at people trying to play. So then you can see, right, they've taken this hand, they have played this turn. How did they win against this? Gives you a bit more of an idea of how to play the actual card itself. Let's see if they put the decks in the description. No. Okay, so then once you've put a few cards, say from YouTube, and you think, right, okay, that's that, you then can go to EDH Rec, which is an amazing site, absolutely amazing site. You put the card in, then you start coming down and thinking, oh, in fact, that's a good card, this is a good card. So whenever an opponent draws a second card each turn, you draw a card. Well, that is amazing, because we can also make other people draw cards. So we'll add that to the thing. Other blue creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes tapped, draw a card, then discard a card. Awesome, we can get to draw cards on our turn, so that's good. Now high synergy. So the cards like this are good. Always draw 2 cards and sacrifice a permanent. Well, we get to draw 2 cards on our turn and then sacrifice one of the illusions, that's maybe +5. We can then cheat a 5 mana card into the battlefield. Okay. Teferi's Ageless Insight. If you draw a card, except the first one you draw each turn on your draw step, draw 2 cards instead. Amazing. We definitely want that because we want to be drawing loads and loads of cards. So once again, once you get a certain amount of cards, you think, right, what I'm going to do is I'll copy them and I'll come back over to my deck, go to bulk edit, and then we'll copy them in. And then we start building up our deck. Then you end up with something a bit like this. So I ended up with 189 cards that I had to whittle down to 100. And I changed quite a few as well. So as you can see, I've got 73 different creatures that I decided, right, do I want to have these, do I not want to have these? There were 10 sorceries, 33 instances, 19 artifacts, 17 enchantments. Oh, there was a lot I had to sift through. So then I ended up with the first version of the deck, which is here. Now both of these are going to be in the description. It's entirely up to you how you want to take it, if you prefer this way or other way. So obviously this is the first one. So what I decided to do is not have any illusions whatsoever in the deck, because all I wanted to do was draw cards in my turn, draw cards on the opponent's turn. So then I could create my illusions in that way. But it just didn't feel right to me. It just didn't seem to play out how I wanted it to play out. So then I had different cards in it like this. Alandra, Sky Dreamer, amazing card. I've actually got a deck on just this commander. Whenever you draw your second card, each turn you create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. So I thought that's amazing. I'm going to be drawing 2 cards each my turn. And because I'm going to be drawing so many cards, this second ability, whenever you draw your 5th card each turn, Alandra, Sky Dreamer and Drakes you control get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand. So I thought that's amazing. So what I try and do is I get cards like, just bear with me, cards like Maskwood Nexus. Creatures you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So if I'm creating all these other tokens like drakes and things and make them all into illusions, then I could sacrifice any sort of amount because the illusions would be so massive. And then if I decided to keep them, well, I'll just have them as drakes as well. They're all creature types. So when they got +X, then every single card on the battlefield got +X because they're all classes of drakes. So if I had like 10 cards in my hand, which is easy enough to be done with all the cards and all the draw spells, then everyone could have actually had +X. But I just couldn't get the deck to feel right for me, so I built it and I thought, I've played it a few times. This is why we rule number 2. We proxy the deck first. I don't understand why people don't do it first, because the amount of times I've bought cards before I found proxies and wasted money buying the cards and realising, you know what, this is crap, I don't play, I don't like it. This would have been exactly the same. I would have bought all these, thought, I've just wasted all this money. So, proxy the cards first, then you can test the decks. And there was other things like this in the deck, obviously. Enter the battlefield, choose a creature type, so I could have made everything into illusions, which made the other illusions massive. And it just didn't feel right. So, this is my last alliteration of the deck. Now, I created the 100, I played it, I just changed about 6 cards I didn't think were right in the deck. Then I went back to playing it, I thought, no, there's a couple more, so I ended up changing another 4. So, I always make sure I play the decks first. Before I even come onto here to record the videos, I play every single deck, and to the point of where I feel like I'm happy with the deck. So, if you feel like I'm just making the decks and I'm just like posting out there, no. I literally sit down, play against all my other decks, where I'm just playing it myself, and then I play other people on spell table, I play my mate. So these decks get vigorous testing before I upload them onto here. So I never think that any of the decks that I create, I just literally just I just create them and that's it. No, I make sure that they're playing perfect. Rule number 3, no apologies, no mercy. I'm in it to win. I want the decks to produce and I want them to be able to win. I don't you know, mess about. So here is the final product of the deck, and I decided with this one is I didn't want to go down the same route as before. I wanted illusions in the deck, and with every deck I create, you always go into the tags, because this one will break it down into the certain components of the deck. Board wipes and removal. We didn't have a lot. I didn't feel like the deck needed a lot because it's got a few counter spells. It's got at least 7 or 8 counter spells in it, so we didn't really need too much board wipes or removal. With this step through, it's more the wizarding cycle, because we want to get wizards out, especially just one, which I'll show you a bit later. Then there's a bit of combat. This is always good, because in the deck what I've done is put in illusions that are unblockable. So when we first start the game, we want to be able to do a bit of damage to draw cards. That's the start of how we want to play it. There you go, 7 different counter spells. As you can see, each one, or most of them, they try to do what we wanted to do. So draw cards. Then we've got one, sacrifice a blue permanent, draw cards. We've tried to keep it in theme, so if we ended up needing to counter someone else's card that just come out, as long as we've got Teferi's Ageless Insight on the battlefield, we get to draw 2 cards, so then we can create an illusion. So it all tries to synergize with each other. Got creature tokens. This here is great. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, create a 1/1 blue bird illusion. Well, we're creating illusions, and we're going to cast loads of sorceries and instances. We've got about 19 instants and about 5 sorceries. This card is a game changer. It is one of our win cons, or a couple of our win cons, so I'll come to that later. Then we've got this one, which is another win con, which is great. You draw 2 cards, then you put one of the cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, which is awesome. But it's more or less, if we want to get massive dog throat creature tokens out, you do -2, and say you've drawn loads of cards, you've got like 12 in your hand, you do -2, and you bring out, you create a blue dog illusion creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to twice the number of cards in your hand. Well, if we've got 10 in our hand, we can double that, so the 20 dog. Great stuff. We'll try and attack with that. But the main thing is the -10. If we can get to the -10, that's a winner. So we'll come back to that later. So there's 21 different creatures. As you can see, we've got phantoms that are unblockable. Not phantoms. We've got illusions that are unblockable. We've got other illusions that have got shadow, which makes them unblockable. Another one here that is unblockable as long as defending player controls are untapped, because we want to get a bit of damage in first. Then we've also got wizards, because this Azumi Lady of Scrolls, if we can get a few wizards out and use this to tap our wizards, that gets us drawing cards on other people's turn, because we can do it at instant speed on, you know, responses to anyone on the battlefield. We've also got Wizards of Fate, which helps bring our instants and sorceries down by 1. And we can cast sorceries as like flash. So basically we've got flash, we can bring them out any time. There's a couple of illusions because we want to get the illusions out. There's also other wizards which tap 3, draw. You can just do that on someone's turn. 3 straight away, create an illusion. Got a few discard. I don't like to do discard too much, that's why there's only a few. There's loads of different draw spells that you draw one, discard one, draw one. It's not really, in my opinion, very good, because what I want to build the deck like is the 100 cards in it, I've got a component to help each other out, or what's going to help produce me. So I don't really like discarding cards unless it's a deck where I'm doing graveyard recursion and then I'm bringing the stuff back. 30 ways to draw. We want to draw cards in this deck. As you see, look, 30 ways to draw. No messing about. Oh, these are great. Howling Mine. At the beginning of each player's draw step, if Howling Mine is untapped, that player draws an additional card. Yes, it gets other people to draw, but it means we also, if we can play that on turn 1 or turn 2, we can start drawing cards set on our draw step 2 and creating illusions quite quickly, quite fast. Same as this Kami of Crescent Moon does exactly the same. We can want to start drawing and drawing, which we can stop other people. We've got equipment here. This equipment's amazing. So we want to be able to sacrifice permanents. So these are great. What you do is equip it onto someone, it gets +4. So the illusion now is, say if you've got 4 illusions on the board, you +4 onto it, you sacrifice that. That's 8. That's 8 mana. You can decide to bring out a card, say like that's 5 or 6 mana, that's straight away. And all it is to equip sacrifice a creature. All you do is sacrifice one of the illusions, and then you can bring out a card that's like 8 mana. It's amazing. Same as this one. If you want to equip it onto another creature, as soon as you've unequipped it, then it sacrifices the creature, gets +3. Another great way of increasing the amount of mana that we can bring out on a card. Skull Clamp, obviously amazing card. Gets you to draw 2 cards, +X, -1. You put that on one of the illusions, die straight away, get to draw 2 cards. Amazing. Like flavor cards, always helping towards the win. So we've got obviously illusions that can't block. Great card. If you want to draw a card, that's a win card. I'll come to that in a minute. 34 lands will end up being good. Now we've got a couple of lands in here that help us draw. So I'm not going to butcher it. It's Geyser, Reach, Sanitarium, I think it's called. Basically, you pay 2, you tap it, each player draws a card, then discards a card. Amazing land, especially if you haven't got anything to draw. And then we've got this one, Mikokora, Center of the Sea. Same again, tap 2, each player draws a card, but if you've got your Teferi's Ageless Insight out again, you get to draw 2 cards, which then you can create an illusion. This one you don't have to discard, so it's even better. Got a few looksies. So what you want to do is get this, pay the 3, like Wizarding Cycle. You want to bring out a Zumi, I can't remember the name now. You want to bring out the wizard that helps you tap other wizards to draw cards. Mana Rocks, there's only 6, but we want ones that help us have no maximum hand size. We want to be drawing as many cards as we possibly can. We don't want to be discarding any of them, so that's why Thoughtless Vessel and Decanter of Endless Water is in there, because we want no maximum hand size. Now there's a couple more here, look. You've got Wizard class, and you've also got this Trixade Kelfile. Can't pronounce it, butchered it, but once again, all we want really to do is have the no maximum hand size. Yes, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. That's also a little bonus if you can get it just right, you put it down, you know you've only got, say, like 10 in your hand, and you can then tap one, which then gives you to draw a card. And then when it comes to your Teferi's out, draw another card, so you've got 13 in your hand. Then it comes to your next upkeep, you may be able to win. Not even down as a win con, but it's just there just in case. Now, these are good. Opponent hate. So we've got ways to obviously draw cards, like Howling Mine. We want to stop other people from drawing, so that's why we've got Narset, Partner of Veils, because each opponent can't draw more. So we've got these cards that help us draw out on each of our upkeep, and then we're going to stop them from doing it, which is these here. Stop these from doing it. This is a great card. You sacrifice a creature, deals 1 damage to target player. So, that is actually a win con. Got a couple of bits of ramp, not much. Sacrifice outlets. So how do we play the deck? Right, we want to start off, this is like WinCom 0.1, this is how we want to start off. We want to try and get out a few of the illusions that can't be blocked. We also want to get out cards that obviously get us to draw. So that's either the Howling Mine or the like wizards, so basically a Azumi Lady of Scrolls. So then when we're attacking, we do damage, we draw cards. We get Azumi out with wizards, and then we can tap them to draw cards again. Then we can want to try and sift through a deck to get to maybe the WinCon number 1, which is this. So you include the commander in it, so this includes like the Minn Wily Illusionist. What you have is have all 3 on the battlefield. You have the Blasting Station, this Maluku, the Clouded Mirror, and Minn on the battlefield. You then do Maluku's ability, so you pay 1, you return land you control, you tap 1, you return a land you control to its owner's hand and create a 1/1 blue illusion creature token with flying. That's great. So you tap a land, you bring that land back to your hand and you create a token. Then you use Blasting Station to sacrifice the creature, which then deals 1 damage to target player. Which then, what happens is, because you've sacrificed the illusion, it then triggers Minn's second ability, which is if an illusion dies, then you can bring out a card with lesser mana value than that. So what you do is you put the land onto the battlefield, which then you tap it, bring that back to your hand, you create another illusion with Maluku, the Clouded Mirror. As you can see, then once that happens, that triggers the Blasting Station's second ability, which then whenever a creature comes into play, you may untap Blasting Station. So that untaps, and then you sacrifice the illusion that you've just created. Then you do that, you literally you do it an unlimited amount of time and kill everyone for 1 damage every single time, and you kill everyone in 1 go. Awesome little bit of a win con. Then the win con number 2, if that gets halted or you get these ones first. So you have the Maluku Clouded Mirror again. You have lands on the battlefield. What you want to do is you obviously tap, you bring the mana back to your hand, you have Walking Atlas, which can be able to tap to bring the land back onto the battlefield, which then triggers the retreat to the Coral Helm, which then means you can untap or tap a target creature. Obviously you want to untap Walking Atlas, and because you brought that land back to your hand, you then put that back on the battlefield by tapping Walking Atlas, which then you untap it again, and then you keep creating tokens, so you get unlimited amount of 1/1 blue illusion tokens, and then you just attack everyone with the unlimited amount. Awesome again for a win con. As I said, this is a combo deck. It is a very combo deck. Number 3, what you do is you have wizard class out. You want to be able to get to level number 3, so that whenever you draw a card, you put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Well, when Benthic Biomancer gets whenever a 1 or more 1/1 counter put on it, you draw a card and you discard a card. Well, you draw your card, you put the 1/1 counter on the Benthic. Then what you do is, because you have then drawn a card from its ability, you then put another 1/1 counter on, because the wizard class says whenever you draw a card, you put a 1/1 counter on. So you literally draw through your whole deck. And then if you've got Laboratory Maniac on the battlefield, if you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game. Great, another little bit of a combo. Then win con number 4 is you basically have this on the battlefield. You have the Mordenkainen. You want to try and get to the 10 counters. If you don't get to the 10 counters, this combo isn't really going to work. That's why I thought I'd put it as number 4. You exchange your hand and your library. So you say you've got, I don't know, 4 cards in your hand, or, well, because you've been drawing loads, say you've got 10. You put them down, you grab your whole library. You've got you've got Laboratory Maniac on the battlefield. Then you play your spells, which will draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. So you draw on these cards, and on your turn, and then all you got to do is make sure, you can draw the rest of your library, which isn't too hard if you've only got 10 on there, and you've got Teferi's Ageless Insight out, you draw double the amount of cards, play a few spells, hey presto, Laboratory Maniac triggers. If you draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. Awesome, another little win con there. So I found this was the best way for the deck for my sort of game style and how I wanted to play it. So then once I've created all that, what I generally do then is I come over to Commander Spellbook. I put all the cards in here, and then it comes up with different combos. As you can see, if you wanted to put different combos in, you can. There's a couple of the ones I've put in. Then there's a few different ones here. Obviously, this one's pretty good. It means like each opponent shuffles their hand into their library, and then basically they can't draw a card, which I was tempted to put in, but I didn't end up putting it in. I thought, no, I don't want that one in. So as you can see, there's loads of different combos if you wanted to do it. Grey low sight. If there's combos that you would prefer to go in, just add them in, and then you can take a few other cards out. This is why we proxy, because we want to play a deck that we find fun and we can win with it. Then we come to the proxies. Great site, MTG print. This is definitely by far the one I found the best. You add all the cards into the box up here, any number of cards entering their names, and here you go. All comes up here if you want to change the versions of them. Like, I don't like these darker ones, especially when I'm printing them, so I always change them to a bit of a lighter one, so when I'm printing them they're easier to see. I don't think it helps me being partially colorblind, so the colors mix together a little bit. Then all you do is you download the PDF, and then you just send it to print. Hey presto, you've got your deck. Then what you do is you've got your sleeves, obviously. You cut, if I can get it out. You've got the card. You cut it into, obviously, doing the lines that you need. You've got a card that you don't play with. I'd never play Prismatic Lens. Put that in. You put the card in. For all 100. Finger out of Bosch. There you go. You've got your cards. Shuffle them up and then play. That's it for another deck tech. If you like the video, then please comment below, like and share. If you're not subscribed, then subscribe to the video. Now, there is a Patreon link in the description, as well as the deck list. If you could maybe join the Patreon, it would really help the channel out. Try to make some better content for you. If there's anything you think I can improve on, or anything that you want to see instead, put the comments below and I'll be able to see if it's worth doing. If you want to see another deck tech, then watch this video here.